Peter Pan, the Eternal Child and the Journey to Neverland. In Edwardian London, on a quiet street lined with gas lamps and ivy-covered houses, stood the cozy Darling family home. Inside, Mr. and Mrs. Darling lived with their 3 children, Wendy, John, and Michael. The nursery was a special place in the Darling household, filled with wooden toys, books with worn pages, and soft quilts embroidered with fantastical designs. Each night, Wendy wove enchanting tales of daring pirates and mystical islands for her brothers, who listened wide-eyed beneath the glow of a flickering lamp. But Wendy's stories weren't merely the product of her imagination. Unbeknownst to her, they were inspired by whispers she heard in her dreams. Dreams influenced by a boy who often visited their nursery, Peter Pan, the mysterious visitor. Peter Pan, the boy who never grew up, was a legendary figure in the world beyond the stars, known as Neverland. Accompanied by his fiery and mischievous fairy companion, Tinker Bell, Peter spent his days leading the Lost Boys, battling pirates, and reveling in endless adventures. Yet, Peter harbored a secret longing for the stories Wendy told, stories that stirred something unfamiliar within his ageless heart. One fateful night, while chasing his rebellious shadow through the nursery, Peter accidentally woke Wendy. Startled but curious, she watched as the boy hovered near the window, bathed in moonlight. "Who are you?" she asked. "I'm Peter Pan," he replied with a playful grin. "And I've come for my shadow." Peter explained that his shadow had escaped during one of his visits and was hiding somewhere in the room. Wendy, ever kind and practical, offered to sew it back onto him. As she worked, Peter told her about Neverland, a magical place where mermaids swam in shimmering lagoons, fairies flitted through enchanted forests, and children never grew old. When Wendy lamented that her father wanted her to leave the nursery and grow up, Peter's green eyes sparkled. "Come with me to Neverland," he said. "You'll never have to grow up, and you can tell stories to the Lost Boys." Before Wendy could reply, Peter sprinkled her with Tinker Bell's pixie dust and invited John and Michael to join them. "Think happy thoughts," he urged, "and you can fly." With a mixture of fear and excitement, the children leaped from the nursery window and soared over the rooftops of London, their laughter echoing in the cool night air. The arrival in Neverland. As dawn broke, Neverland appeared on the horizon, a breathtaking island bathed in golden sunlight. The children marveled at its wonders. Waterfalls cascading into turquoise pools, vibrant flowers that seemed to hum with life, and skies painted with endless rainbows. The group landed in a hidden glade where they met the Lost Boys, a band of lively children dressed in animal costumes. They greeted Peter with cheers and surrounded Wendy with wide-eyed curiosity, thrilled to have someone who could tell stories and care for them like a mother. Wendy quickly took to her new role, but not everyone was pleased. Tinker Bell, jealous of Wendy's closeness to Peter, flitted about sulking and plotting mischief. Meanwhile, a darker threat loomed. Captain James Hook, the feared leader of a pirate crew. Hook, a man of sharp wit and sharper steel, had a personal vendetta against Peter, who had once severed his hand and fed it to a crocodile. Now, Hook's every move was haunted by the ticking of the beast's clockwork heart. Adventures and perils. Life in Neverland was a whirlwind of excitement. The Darling children and the Lost Boys explored the island, encountering majestic creatures and hidden treasures. They swam with mermaids who sang hauntingly beautiful songs, danced with the native inhabitants of Neverland, and feasted on imaginary banquets conjured from Peter's boundless imagination. But danger was never far. Hook, ever the cunning adversary, devised traps and ambushes to capture Peter and his friends. One fateful day, he captured Tiger Lily, the daughter of the native chief, and tied her to a rock at Mermaid Lagoon, leaving her to the rising tide. Peter, with his unparalleled daring, rescued her in the nick of time, earning her eternal gratitude. Tinker Bell's jealousy reached a boiling point when she tricked the Lost Boys into shooting Wendy with an arrow, claiming she was an enemy. Though Wendy survived, Peter was furious with Tinker Bell. It was only after she tearfully apologized and proved her loyalty in a moment of peril that Peter forgave her. Hook's treachery and the kidnapping. Hook, growing ever more desperate, hatched a diabolical plan. He captured Tinker Bell and forced her to reveal the location of the Lost Boys' hideout. Armed with this knowledge, he launched a surprise attack, capturing Wendy, John, Michael, and the Lost Boys while Peter was away. The prisoners were taken to the Jolly Roger, Hook's imposing ship anchored in a shadowy cove. Hook gave them an ultimatum: join his crew or walk the plank. Wendy, with unwavering courage, refused, rallying the others to stay strong. The climactic battle. Peter, alerted by Tinker Bell, who had escaped her captivity, raced to the Jolly Roger. In a thrilling showdown, he and the Lost Boys faced off against Hook and his crew. Swords clashed, cannons roared, and chaos reigned as the battle raged across the deck. Peter finally confronted Hook, their rivalry culminating in a fierce duel. With a clever move, Peter disarmed the pirate, forcing him to the edge of the plank. Just then, the ominous ticking of the crocodile echoed across the water. Terrified, Hook lost his balance and fell into the sea, where the crocodile awaited him with gleaming teeth. With Hook defeated, the pirates fled, and Neverland was safe once more. The journey home. Though Neverland had been a place of endless wonder, the darling children began to long for home. Wendy, in particular, felt the pull of her family and the life she had left behind. Peter, though saddened, understood. With a heavy heart, he agreed to take them back to London. Flying through the night, the children returned to the nursery, where Mr. and Mrs. Darling embraced them with tears of joy. Peter lingered for a moment, watching from the window as the family reunited. He knew he could never be a part of their world, but took solace in the thought that Wendy would never forget him. "Goodbye, Wendy," he whispered before vanishing into the stars. An eternal legacy. Years passed, and Wendy grew up, her memories of Neverland fading into a bittersweet dream. Yet, she often told her children about Peter Pan, the boy who never grew up. Somewhere in the boundless skies, Peter continued his adventures, forever young and free, waiting for the next child to believe in the magic of Neverland.